Hey friends, welcome back to Cozy with Calinnah, where I dive into my journey as an independent artist, the highs, the lows, and everything in between. I also connect with creatives who are multi hyphenates, dreamers, and doers. Don't forget to watch a new episode every Thursday. My next guest is the definition of duality. By day, he's an engineer, and by night, he's an artist who captivates the audience with his unique sound and performance. We're going to talk about how it feels to juggle both two completely different worlds, how to stay grounded, and how he fuels his creativity. Welcome to the podcast, Chapis. Yay!
Thank you.
How are you doing today?
Pretty good. It's been nice. Um, I went on a bike ride, but it was kind of sprinkling or
Oh,
drizzling a little
uh-huh.
bit and like gloomy, but now the sun's out.
Yeah,
So
it's a
it's,
nice day in Long Beach
yeah.
today. Thank you for being on the podcast. Podcast on the podcast. It's funny because I actually did like a thing on my story, like a poll or question thing, and I asked the viewers who they wanted on the podcast, and a lot of people said you. So I'm
Awesome.
glad that you're here today. It's an honor. I'm also a fan of your music, and I've been to some of your shows, so it's a
Likewise.
nice treat. So thank you for being here. All right, I have these new cards. I'm really excited
Ooh,
about
those are
them.
cool.
So I have some questions. Let's start off with what were you like as a kid? Did you grow up with creativity, structure, or both?
As a kid, just in general, I think I was like a latchkey kid. I was the youngest of three, so
Oh, okay.
yeah, I was always out in the streets, like getting into trouble, kind of a thing.
Oh, okay. A
Yeah.
little rebellious.
Yeah, my mom, I remember when I went into first grade, she basically told me like, "Hey, like Chappies, if you feel like you're okay with walking to school on your own, like I won't take you anymore." And I'm like, "Yeah, I think I could handle it," because it was across the street.
Oh,
So
okay,
ever
okay.
since then, I was just kind of left to my own devices.
Oh, independent.
Yeah, pretty much.
That's cool. And did you always have an interest in music? Like, did you grow up with listening to records or
Um,
how was that?
yeah, for sure. I was mostly I grew up in the 90s, so it was like the like make your own mixtape on a cassette kind of thing.
Uh-huh.
So I would
I
always
remember
like
that.
listen to the radio and just like make mixtapes and give them to friends and listen to it on my Walkman and stuff like that.
That's cool. I remember like LimeWire and all that. I used to download a bunch of that stuff.
Yeah.
And then you'd have to wait like forever and then hoping that it was the right version.
Oh yeah, there was some
Yeah.
pirated like bad
Yeah, a
versions
lot
out
of
there.
pirated stuff.
Yeah.
So, did they encourage you to do music from a young age? Like, did you play instruments?
I think I saw my dad playing acoustic guitar and singing like some rancheras and when I was like in elementary school, and then I wanted a drum set when I was in 6th grade, so that's what I asked for, but
Mm.
they were saying they basically said no, it was too loud and crazy,
Oh,
and like
yeah. I
they're
mean,
like,
yeah, I get that.
yeah, for sure, a drum set's super loud.
Yeah.
But they were like, you could play the guitar, and I was like, nah, I'm good, I don't want to play guitar. And
Okay.
then eventually, like in the 8th grade, I think I asked for an electric guitar because I wasn't interested in an acoustic. It just kind of seemed boring to me or something at the time.
Yeah.
And I got an electric, and then I started playing ever since then, 8th grade.
Yeah, I've always wanted to play electric guitar because I mean, there's acoustic guitars in here, and my dad also like played. He was in a quartet back in the day and stuff. So my dad's side is like definitely the musical side. But I feel like sometimes, do you think it's mandatory to learn acoustic before you learn electric?
Nah,
Oh, okay, because
yeah, I don't think,
there's a big debate, I feel like.
yeah, I don't think there's any like there is a correct way to do anything really with music. Yeah, you could learn. I have a friend who learned on a right-handed guitar even though he was left-handed, and he never even switched the strings, like you know how they're in
Oh,
the reverse order, so he
yeah.
learned all the chords, he learned them like upside down, so like
What?
so if he was doing this chord,
Oh,
he basically learned how to do it this way, so he was like like that, doing it like the opposite way.
Whoa.
And he got so good. His name is Luis Gamberos,
Wow.
and yeah, he was amazing at guitar, and he learned backwards. So
That's crazy. Yeah. I mean, I'm a lefty, but I'm only like with two things, and then everything else is like with the right. So when I learned guitar, it was just like the regular.
what two things?
Like I only write with my left,
Oh shit.
and then I only use a spoon with my left. But like cutting scissors,
What about a fork?
a fork,
Left?
yeah, left. Like
Okay.
any silverware
I know, I'm just kidding.
or pen.
Yeah,
But any like cutting scissors, this is my right.
that's a trip.
Like cutting with a knife with the right. I don't know, it's weird.
That is weird.
Yeah,
But that's
but
cool. You're like ambidextrous.
yeah, I guess so. But like I can't really like if I write with my right hand, it's still kind of messy.
Oh,
It's
okay.
not cute. But I mean, I could write enough, I guess.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's awesome.
That's cool. So you grew up playing different instruments, and then was there like a time where some sort of like age or moment where you're like, I want to sing?
Yeah, I think it was. I was never the singer. I was like in high school playing with other. I was just the guitarist, I guess. And then
Uh-huh.
I didn't even help really with writing any of the music until like after high school. So yeah, after high school, then I finally started helping in the band that I was in called Sybil. At the time, it was like an instrumental like prog rock band. So
Mm.
yeah, it was like very like different time signatures and kind of heavy at times and things like that. And I was getting over that, and so I started just kind of singing stuff, and then that band ended, and I started a new band, and I kept the name Sybil because it was just me and the drummer. Um, so the other two members left, my cousin Jose and Raymond, and so Chris as well, he left, and then so it was just me and the other drummer Chris, and they're both Chris. There's two Chris's in there, and yeah. So then I started writing songs then. So I was already after. It
Oh.
was already after high
Yeah,
school.
that was the same with me. Like I started writing songs around like 19, and it was like after like a situationship kind of thing. And of course it was like about heartbreak and stuff. So I started well, I played piano when I was younger, and then I started composing uh like on little notepads, like words and then like notes, and then started writing too.
Oh,
So
that's cool.
it was like a later time also. I know like some people have been writing like a long, long time, but I feel like I started a little bit later with the music stuff. As I mentioned in the intro, you're an engineer, right?
Yeah, yeah. I
Yeah.
don't really tell too many people that an engineer, just because um, it kind of feels. I mean, I am an engineer, but I feel like I've been a musician a lot longer than I've been an engineer.
Mm, yeah.
And engineering was kind of like something that I just did to like, yeah, just to kind of have like a backup plan, I guess,
Yeah.
just to always have something that I could fall back on, because I've been told by friends and my dad, especially my dad, that music's really hard to make it in, even if you're talented and stuff. And
Right.
so yeah, it's at the time, I when I was younger, I thought it was like one or the other. Like I couldn't do both. And so when I graduated college, I stopped doing engineering for like
Mm.
2 years, and I kind of like I promised myself. I was like by myself on the beach, like in Mexico, and I promised myself. I remember this vividly. I promised myself that I was never going to do engineering again. It
Okay.
was very dramatic. I was like, I'm
Yeah.
not doing engineering anymore. Like
Yeah.
I can't keep doing it. I'm not happy. So I'm just gonna do things that make me happy. And I was like, I'm gonna do music for now, and then maybe become a teacher. Um,
Mm.
and I was substitute. So I started substitute teaching. I thought I was gonna become a teacher. Um, and then I was in debt like crazy because I was like, just
Let
a
that be real.
yeah.
Let that be real. I don't know, like I feel like compared to like our parents' generation, our we like it's impossible to like buy a house because you have your student loan, and it's like how are you gonna save all that money when it's going to school?
Yeah.
And most of the time I feel like you're young and you don't really know exactly what you want to do if it's like a that kind of job, Like how are you supposed to know at 17 what you want to do with your life for the rest of your life?
Yeah, it's kind of unrealistic,
It's
you
very
know?
unrealistic and I don't know
And
like
I personally hate when people put that pressure on you to figure it out.
yeah.
Like, personally, I hated it.
Yeah, I didn't like that either or that experience because it's just like you're like I'm just like a kid still. You know what I mean? Figuring it out and how the world even works, like how to pay bills, like all these like life skills that and then now you have to figure out what you're going to do for the rest of your life and like it doesn't make sense to me, but
Yeah, and even now, like, being a lot older and doing engineering and stuff, like I still have it in the back of my mind always that I don't have to continue to do engineering. Like I
right.
can stop doing it if I don't enjoy it anymore and I can do something else.
Yeah, totally.
I don't have that with music though. With music, I
Mm,
kind of know I'm always going to do it. Like
yeah.
that's why I don't really talk about engineering too often cuz it's
Yeah,
kind of just a job, you know. Like
to
that's
pay
that's really what it all it
yeah.
is for me, to be honest.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm good at math and science, but like that doesn't define
Define.
you.
Mhm. Yeah, I came to that realization because I was like always a creative and then I pursued like creative stuff after like the beginning of college.
Yeah, because you're a nurse, right?
Well, I became a nurse later.
Okay.
So, nursing is not my first degree, but it was like a career change that I just kind of like made a decision because I wasn't happy with where I was at and I was doing the creative stuff. It wasn't singing though. It was like fashion, like that kind of realm. So then I realized fashion is very not glamorous and I needed to pay the bills and I was like, how am I going to live with this kind of sour hourly wage. You know what I mean? So I just made a decision that I was going to pursue nursing. And then after I graduated, that's when COVID hit. And
Yeah.
then I was like, what? Like, this is terrible. And I was like, I don't know if this is for me, but I like stuck it out kind of thing. And then I started singing because I was depressed, basically. And then I was like, singing has always been like a part of my life too. Like ever since I was a kid, I would sing in church and all that stuff, but I didn't like it didn't like link like that. And so nursing was always kind of like a temporary thing until I was going to find what I wanted to do. And then COVID kind of just pushed me there, a little bit faster. And I was like, I really like this. I should start like writing songs again and like releasing whatever I'm going through
Yeah,
and
it's
just
like
put it out there.
it's therapeutic, right?
Yeah,
I think
totally.
so.
Yeah. So that's kind of my story into like how I also kind of was like, okay, this is more of like the purpose and the why of what I want to do in this life. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
like be able to share that with people, even if people are not like a fan of it, you know?
You got to do it for yourself first, for sure.
Always do it for yourself. Super important too,
Hmm.
if you need that.
Oh yeah, thank you.
Yeah. Yeah, I think
I move
it's.
around a lot,
Oh, no,
sorry.
you're good. You're good. You're good. So, how do you feel like you juggle like because you work like normal hours I would assume right
Yeah.
like an engineer job
Hmm.
right like a Monday to Friday and how do you juggle or how have you found ways to juggle since you've been doing this for some time right
Yeah. So I mean, I've had different eras of the engineering stuff. Like, there was a time where I was working in Irvine as in a private firm, and I was hitting music super hard. Like I was writing like a ton of songs, and so I was just I would take my lunch at a park, and I would like just play guitar for an hour and sing for an hour in the park, and like write songs and bring my laptop and like record myself at the park like writing songs. So I was making beats at the park, and this happened for like 2 years. So I was still making beats every day, even though I had a
Wow.
Monday, through Friday job. I was still like spending an hour making beats and music and songs. And then I'd come
Wow.
home, and then actually I wouldn't even go home. I'd go straight to the studio, and we had a studio in Santa Ana, so I'd just drive straight there. And I was with my band Flying Hand at the time with Andy and Chris, and we'd have rehearsals or we'd keep recording and make more songs. And I was there until midnight sometimes. So
Right.
yeah, I was just like hitting it hard on both fronts. Yeah, just
Wow.
now it's not as like crazy. Like I take breaks in between. I don't feel as like what's the word, um like I have to do it right now. I can be like, no, I'll do it on Thursday. I have time on
Mm.
Thursday. I'll do it on
Yeah.
Thursday. I can be more like that. But like
Yeah.
5 years ago, even I was like, no, I have to fucking stop doing
Right.
whatever I'm doing right now and go.
Right. Right.
And I would do that.
Or
Yeah,
else,
I would
for
take off
whatever
from
reason.
work and be like, I got something to do right now, and I'd go and I'd write a song or some shit. Yeah, so I
Wow.
was like super obsessed with it.
That's cool.
I
Yeah.
still am, but like, yeah, more reasonable.
Yeah. Like I feel like well, because I think a lot of it, because I'm doing like a lot of different projects, right? Like not only the singing, but like social media and like editing and all that stuff. And I'm like, I be doing things on my lunch break too. Like for the coworkers who always see me on my laptop, that's what I'm probably doing is like working on the craft of everything, right?
Yeah.
I think it's important to practice that because, after work you're probably tired. Um, and then you have to, well, for me, I have to like decompress a little bit before I can like at least like 20 minutes or something to like get in the right headspace for, to be creative. So, um, any advice for someone who's just like starting out and trying to juggle multiple creative things? Like, how do they know which one to choose first?
Like if they're painting maybe
Yeah,
or
like maybe someone who is like creative, right? But they don't really know where to start. They don't really know what is like at the top of their list of where they want to start.
I mean, I would say if you can try it all a little bit, right? Like I was painting for a little bit,
Oh,
drawing. I was drawing for a little bit um, while I was doing music, and like I mean, I still love drawing and painting, but I just haven't done it as much. But yeah, it's any creative thing is amazing, like
yeah.
whatever it is, like it doesn't even have to be music. It could just be like making a movie script or like some kind of like short film dialogue stuff, like
Mm,
jokes, even if you're just crafting some jokes that you're like, I have some friends that like Jordan, who I know a lot of people in Long Beach know. He works at Bamboo Club. He's in
mm.
a bunch of bands. He's in the Sleepers. Every time I see that dude, he's like, "Hey, can I try a joke on you?" And he's like trying jokes and
Oh,
like,
wow.
yeah, and he's pretty good at them, and like that's creative as fuck.
Yeah.
I think. I
Yeah.
think it's really hard to be a comedian.
Oh my God, it's so hard to be a comedian because everyone's waiting for the punchline. And if you don't deliver it, it's like, oh, I feel like that's harder than being a singer or
I
performer
think so.
because you're involving laughter now.
Hmm.
Like you have to force them to kind of like what you're saying,
Yeah, and like
you know?
your music, you could fall on the bass player, you could fall like lean on the drummer, lean on the guitar
Right.
solo. But like,
Right.
how are you gonna lean on anything or anyone as a
Yeah, it's
comedian?
it's purely your humor.
Yeah, your
Yeah.
charismatic like way of describing something. It's
Yeah.
like,
And I think also like if your joke bombs,
oh,
getting out of that
damn.
to get a better joke, like on it's like a lot of like what's the word when you like improv.
Oh, for
You know what
sure.
I mean? Like you're just kind of going as you're feeling the room. Like you have to definitely like be a good reader of the room. Like I was talking to Letty. Letty was the last speaker, And I was like, I feel like you have to be a pretty observant person to be a DJ because you're setting the mood for the room essentially, right?
Yeah.
So you have to kind of like look around and then get a feel of like what people like.
Yeah, they're like, oh, they didn't like that song. Okay. I was gonna play three more kind of like
Right,
that. Like,
right.
you're like, I'm gonna take those out.
Yeah, like you're pivoting a lot. And I think with being a comedian, it's probably very similar where you are like pivoting, like,
Constantly.
because you have different jokes, right? Like, I'm sure.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. I mean, again, I don't know too many comedians, but I've really, really, really respect that craft a lot.
Yeah, me too. Me too. And do you feel like you struggle with imposter syndrome as an artist?
Yeah, I for sure do. I don't really lately. I've had a lot of friends bring that up, like imposter syndrome, that they have imposter syndrome, and I know for sure I have a version of that, but I don't think it's necessarily imposter syndrome. The thing that I suffer from is probably more like that school of thought of like, oh, promoting your stuff is lame. Like I suffer from
Mm,
that. Like, oh, like announcing that you have shows is lame, and like constantly posting about it is lame, or like
right.
constantly hanging out with your friends and be like, hey, I have a show, come to my show. That I feel like I was always like thought to believe that that was lame, and people would make fun of you back in the day
Yeah,
for like believing in your craft and like wanting to be like, here's my
totally.
demo. Like I remember making CDs and handing them out, and people being like yeah, making me feel bad for that, about that. So I suffer from that, I think, of like having
Mm,
confidence to be like, yo, my shit's dope, like we're playing at this place, like come, it's gonna be sick.
mm.
Like that,
Yeah,
like
yeah,
I can't even say it like that. I have to be like, somebody else will say it for me, like, oh, this is Chappies, he's sick, he has a show, and I'm
right,
like, oh, thanks man, and then like that's it. But like
right.
it's a little easier to make a post because then I could just post it and that's it. But like in person, to be talking about yourself and being like, yo, my shit's tight, check out my shit, like that shit is hard for me.
Yeah, yeah, it is like I think
Trying to get better though.
yeah, I think like back in the day too, I struggled with that is like because I think the my parents, I don't know, like my parents are, immigrated here. So it's like, why are you doing that? But then like you're at the family party and they're like, sing. I was like, I'm confused. You're saying this thing and then you're telling me something else. And it's like only like, in situations. So it was kind of like making fun of it, like, oh, that's not like a serious thing. So then like, it takes like just that one little voice and you're like, oh, maybe I shouldn't, promote what I'm doing because then you get a little shy about it, people's opinions. But yeah, I think I struggle with that too. I mean, I'm posting frequently, but it's still, you just never know how people are going to take whatever you're putting out there and then like trying to spread when you're like having a show and like marketing. I think like that's like I can see why labels have teams for these things because it's a lot to put on the artist when you want to focus on the craft and like the beauty of the message, right?
Yeah, the campaigns and the ads and all that stuff. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, that a team would help with that because if you're doing that by yourself and you're trying to be the artist, that sounds really hard.
Yeah. It's a lot to like tackle. And
Yeah.
I think like the business side of it is important to learn, but it's also like if you're sometimes I struggle with like, okay, if I'm learning the business, it's kind of taking away from the creative, right? And then,
You could look at it that way, but
mm,
I don't think it is.
mm,
I think it's only gonna help because it's gonna like kind of inform like how you approach things.
mm,
I think. I used
yeah,
to think that too,
yeah,
but I feel like I actually enjoy learning about the business side. Like I recently met up with Michael Sayer, who's a successful artist and has been
mm-hmm,
around for a while, and like he was kind of yeah, just like giving me advice on how to approach things and like um yeah, I thought like it was really cool that he was very transparent about how to do these things
Mm.
and like I'm geeking out on it now. Like I used to think it was like whack and boring to be involved in all that stuff, but like now that I'm older, I actually think it's pretty cool. Like he's a super independent artist that's doing every aspect by
Mm.
himself. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, he has a manager and I'm sure he has people helping,
Yeah.
but it's all filtered through him and he's
Mm-hmm.
doing it all and he's kind of like telling me like you could do the same thing. And so shout out
Yeah.
Michael Sayer because like
Shout out.
I just talked to him like 2 days ago, and he was telling me all these cool things about that.
Yeah, I think like having knowledge, there is that, even though it may sound scary, sometimes you want to understand it too, because you want to catch when like someone's trying to like gear you in a different direction that it's I think it's awareness of who you are in general, and then like how you want to be as an artist, and then understanding what comes with that kind of helps, right? In being able, there's like a gnat over here.
Sorry.
Being an artist, understanding yourself, and then like understanding the business can only benefit you, I feel like, in the long run, because then you know what you're signing, basically, especially like even contracts, or like knowing who to reach out to for these types of things, I think can only help you.
Yeah, for sure. It's all interconnected. So like, if you know more about this, like, it'll help you feel better about your music, you know?
Right.
And like, yeah. But if you don't know about this and you're kind of fearful of it and you're like, oh, I don't want to even think about that, then it's going to kind of affect your music because you're kind of like in
Mm,
this like denial state of like what's really going on. You know what I
yeah,
mean?
yeah.
Like I would never look at like how many plays I got and who was listening to my music and stuff and like now I do and it's
Mm-hmm.
helpful to know like oh it's kind of growing like
Yeah.
things are getting better like people are listening more and like I mean, not you can't obsess about that stuff either, and like look at it too much, but you can't be afraid to look at it either. You have to
Right.
you have to like
You have
be
to see,
honest with yourself and
yeah,
be
you
like,
have to see the
oh
progress, right?
yeah, at least every now and then look at your analytics and stuff, right, and just
Mm-hmm.
see what's going on.
Yeah, I think it's important too,
Yeah.
to look at it without feeling lost in it,
hmm
right?
Or like embarrassed that it's not doing well, like or as well as you would have hoped and
Right.
stuff like that. Or yeah, just don't compare yourself too much to other people because
Yeah.
then you'll start feeling bad
Yeah,
about it.
you can definitely like dwell in that if you want to. Is like, oh, this person's doing XYZ and I'm not doing that. Or you could flip it, like this person's not doing XYZ and I want to do that, Like it just depends, I think, on the what you're trying to achieve, and then also like trying to minimize the negative self-talk,
Yeah.
which I feel like, a lot of artists struggle with on the
I have
daily.
negative self talk in my head too, but I quickly kind of like push it aside and like it happens for like a few seconds and I say something really dumb like you fucking suck, dude. Your music sucks in my head or some shit like that.
Oh,
But then I'll be like, dude, what the fuck was that thought? Like, fuck that thought. And then I'll push it
right.
aside and I'll be like, just for that, I'm gonna go make a song and like prove to
Wow.
myself that I don't suck. Like, what am I talking about?
Yeah.
And so, yeah,
Oh, wow.
I do have those negative thoughts, but I'm quick to like not dwell on them.
Right, right. And do you feel like you practice any techniques to get there? Because I think like a lot of people have anxiety, like, or it's at least we have more terms for these things nowadays. And I mean, I run into a lot of people who struggle with anxiety and getting themselves out of that headspace. Is there anything that you practice, like affirmations or like therapy or reading, or how do you get out of that quicker?
Let me see. how do I like practice like confidence almost or
Yeah, like I guess caring less, right, is kind of what you're like. We all have the thoughts, but it's like trying to transfer that thought into a positive thing now, or like getting out of that. I mean, I'm gonna write the song.
yeah, I think I just I just like do do something about it. Like I'll
Mm.
go on a bike ride or I'll go to the gym or like I'll go to the studio. Um I'll make a like I'll mix a song that I've been working on and get it to a certain place and then like bounce it and then send it to myself and then go on a bike ride and listen to it and then kind of be like, "Oh, okay, this is pretty cool." Like I'll do stuff like that, to kind of just
Mm.
like yeah, I guess I'm just like somebody who will do more than they will sit there and dwell.
That's good.
You know what I mean? Like I'll just do more. I'll just like yeah, like play more guitar, play more bass, like go to the studio more. Um yeah, I kind of don't like sitting there and just like thinking about how terrible my stuff is or whatever because
Yeah.
that could easily happen.
Oh, totally.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
I'm good to not do that.
Yeah.
I'll just
That's
like go
good.
play music and shit and hopefully it goes away.
Yeah. Oh, that's I like that. Yeah. Sometimes like well, I hear from some artists that, there's no such thing as really inspiration or finding the inspiration to write or to sing or whatever. You just have to kind of do it. And then the inspiration comes. Because I do feel like sometimes there's like a wave of inspiration, but maybe it's just a way of like how we're feeling in life and like not just wanting to do it right now at this moment in time. Like, yeah, you have to go to the gym or you have to like take time for yourself to then start creating again.
Yeah. I think if you're like most people, then you kind of have to clear your schedule of like all the things you had to do before you can go be creative. Like if you
Mm,
had, like your transmission was messed up on in your car and like you haven't taken care of that, but like so you don't really
yeah,
have a car right now, but like you want to go to the studio. So yeah, if you don't take care of that, like you could easily just take an Uber to the studio, but like it might be harder to be as excited and like creative about your music if like you have this crazy thing you have to do still.
right.
At least for me, like that's how it is for me. So I try to take care of all my responsibilities first.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it because, yeah, like yeah, your car's not working, you're going through some life shit.
Health shit.
Health is wealth.
Yeah, yeah.
Always, because if you don't take care of that, then you're just gonna have like this chronic pain or whatever that you're going through before you can create. And I mean, I feel like it does help having stability in life. I think there are a lot of starving artists out there too who, I mean, it's hard because you're kind of like trying to make pay your bills, make your money in order to do like the creative stuff. Like, do you feel like you have ever encountered that or have heard stories like that of just, like trying to be stable? I feel like because you're in a state. I don't know how long you've been, in your day job, but I think that really definitely changed for me when I became a nurse. Even though it's kind of like, something I wasn't like passionate about, it definitely has helped me with those life problems to focus on the creative part.
Yeah, for sure. And you could see it as a means to an end. It's like I think everybody is fed that you have to find something that you love so it feels like it's not work, right? Like,
Mm-hmm.
but I mean, i- that's really hard to do. So,
Yeah,
yeah, like if you can't get there right now and you get there when you're 40 or 50 or whatever, that's okay. Up until that point, you still need a job. You still need to
totally.
pay your bills and like you still need to like buy a new laptop because your last one was like shutting down every time you had more than like 20 tracks and it was frustrating to do music with it, so you had to get a new laptop. Well, yeah, you need money for all these things and um
I'm like kind of running into that issue because my storage on my I'm like, "Oh my God, I have to keep on deleting shit." And I'm like, "Dang, do I have to upgrade now?" I
Yeah.
think like all the equipment that we
It's
use,
so
it's
expensive.
so
Yeah.
expensive. Like the mics, the cameras, the whatever. It's
Yeah.
it's always adding and I'm just like, "Oh." Like,
Yeah.
you do have to kind of find the means to be able to afford to a certain point, right? It doesn't
Hmm.
have to be the best quality, right?
Yeah.
At first, at least.
And honestly, yeah, you could get by with making great stuff with like, yeah, fairly inexpensive stuff. So it doesn't have to be the best. Yeah.
Yeah, and maybe the viewers want to know, are there like places that they can find discounted gear to start off?
The homie Eric from Brain Story, he just
Mm.
showed me. I mean, this is dumb because it's like it's been around forever, but Facebook Marketplace
Oh
is
yeah.
like they have like crazy. So for some reason, I was just using like OfferUp or other things. But Facebook Marketplace has really good deals on gear,
Yeah.
and like the algorithm is kind of crazy. Like you search like
Mm.
one or two things and or three things, and then all of a sudden like it shows you like recommended stuff that like you know you kind of have always wanted, and it's like fuck, okay, now I want to get this because it's like 70% cheaper than it normally is.
Right, right. And then hopefully it's just everything that as advertised, right?
Yeah, you have to go there and try it out. You have to,
Oh,
yeah,
yeah, yeah,
yeah,
yeah,
go to the
yeah.
person's,
Oh,
yeah, and try out the gear
yeah.
and stuff and make sure it works for sure.
Yeah, and I feel like also if you're, let's say you're not a Facebook Marketplace kind of person, sometimes Sweetwater has good deals from what I've,
Yeah, I think so.
you know.
Or try to like ask around to see if like somebody works at Guitar Center or something like that, and they can hook you
Oh,
up with the discount, or homies that have, yeah, if you have a homie that can hook you up, that would be ideal. But if not, buy it used. You know.
yeah, yeah. I bought that one used.
Yeah.
I think this camera is used right here, the one I'm looking at right.
Nice. There you go. And
So yeah,
I'm sure it works just as well as if it was new.
right.
You know.
And I like got it off, even Amazon has like used electronics. You don't have to buy like the new one. It'll say like new or used and then there's like a dramatic price difference.
Hmm.
Yeah, 'cause everything adds up and I think, just like doing this podcast, I just want to like bring more awareness of just like resources and tools that like me or other people have used because it's kind of hard knowing when to start for other people,
Yeah.
and like where do I buy the gear? Like we're thinking about the creative things, but in order to do the creative things, you have to like get the stuff
Yeah.
for those things. So sometimes the hardest part is just starting. Like where do I go for this?
Yeah. And I don't know about you, but I get guilt. I have guilt when I buy too many things, like music stuff.
Mm.
Like I'm like I don't even like use that as often as I should, and I bought that, and now I have this, and I also have that. So I'm like really careful with not buying too many things because then I start feeling guilty. I don't know why.
Yeah.
It's weird. It's like a weird guilt thing, but like yeah, I just like want to use everything that I buy. So like I try not to buy just a bunch of shit. I try to like be very careful and mindful of like do I really want that? Do I really think I'm gonna use it a lot? And then I'm like, yes, I am, and then I'll buy it.
Mm. Yeah, I have a loop. I have a looper that's collecting dust that I'm like,
Yeah.
I really need to use this at some point. But sometimes I'm like, I don't even know how to hook this up.
Yeah, and if you're genuinely not interested in using it after a while, maybe you should just get rid of it, and then
Mm.
buy that thing that you kind of know you need, like a new laptop,
Mm.
or whatever it is.
Facts. Maybe I need to go on Facebook Marketplace and sell some things like,
For real.
yeah, I
I do too,
do.
to be honest.
Maybe we can
Or
see
we could
what, yeah,
exchange
maybe we
shit.
could exchange. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Oh, let's talk about just, were you always from Long Beach or?
I grew up in Santa Ana. I lived in
Okay.
Orange when I was going to college, and then moved back to Santa Ana. Kind of felt like um, I needed a new change, musically especially. So I came to Long Beach like in 2019, I think.
Same,
Yeah.
2019. And then
Yeah, October 2019, I think.
mm, and then you met some people like in music. Like how did you start
Yeah,
meeting
that
people?
that part happened pretty quickly. I'm
Mm.
surprised that like yeah, how accepting Long Beach people are, you know?
Long Beach is super accepting. I feel like Long Beach is chill. It's not pretentious,
Yeah,
and you know what I mean? And it just everyone is just like,
supportive.
yeah, everyone's like, "Hey, how are you?" It's like genuine
Yeah,
and authentic, and that's why I like it out here so much. And
me
like
too.
everybody's like, I feel like open to collaborating and working together. Um, so
Yeah,
I,
we're lucky to have Long Beach, to be honest. Like
yeah, it's
all of
hard to
us.
leave this place.
Yeah.
Have you done a lot of projects in LA as well?
Here and there for sure. Like, um, yeah, like go to the homies' studio out there and make music with them, or play shows out there. More so now than before, but yeah, LA's like not too far, you know. So
Yeah, it's not too far. Oh, you've been on tour too, right?
yeah, a few times, yeah.
And how was that experience? I think we haven't covered touring on this podcast yet. So maybe we can kind of bring light of that.
Oh, cool. Yeah, touring is super, super fun. It's like probably like all the highs that you can experience and all the lows that you can experience
Okay.
all at the same time because like highs are like you're having a great show and you're in Toronto, opening up for the Black Pumas at like, in Canada. You never even been there before and it's sold out and it's like
Wow.
amazing because it's packed and people are vibing. But then like, you could also have like the low lows where like you've had terrible sleep and it's like day 14 or 15 and like you've been eating like terrible just like fast food and crappy stuff and you just feel terrible.
Yeah,
You
because
know what
it's
I
like
mean? Like
it's like
health
on the
wise.
road, like you're like on a road trip essentially.
Uh-huh.
And like you just, you go to the gas station, you're like, okay, I'm gonna eat some chips.
And
And
for
then,
some reason like shitty food is like so enticing when you're on the road.
yeah,
It's like the weirdest thing. It's like I can eat good when I'm at home, but then like when I'm on the road I'm like, "No, I just want like some hot Cheetos or
right,
something." Like
right.
for
Well,
the fifth
yeah,
time
for the fifth
on
time
tour.
this, yeah, that's right. Yeah, so how do you get into touring? How does one get into it?
I mean, the first time I toured, I was playing bass for two bands that went together. It was my friends in Time and Energy and Evan Kiesman. And it was cool. I was just playing bass for both of them. I never even played bass for anybody. I was playing guitar, so I bought a bass. I bought a bass like the second show we had, like on yeah Craigslist or some shit, and like and then it worked out perfectly, and then I had a bass for the rest of the tour.
Wow.
Yeah, so it worked out great, and that's like the bass that I still use to this day. And it just happened because I mean those both of those bands like Time and Energy and Evan like they didn't have like a huge following at the time or anything, but they were very proactive at like hitting up venues and being like, this is our music, like if you have anything, and they were able to like set up their own tour by themselves.
Oh,
So
wow.
yeah.
So they didn't need a tour manager to do that. So if you're setting up your own schedule for your tour, are they like providing like the housing, the
No, 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 no.
transport?
It's
Okay.
okay. So for that tour, yeah, we were in the red money wise,
Mm-hmm.
right? But
Mm-hmm.
then then I was on a tour with like Rudy the Anda opening up for the Black Pumas, and that was, a paid rate that Rudy and the label Coal Mine, I'm sure, helped out or something, and they provided me a rate and everybody else a rate, and so we all had
Mm.
money and we all had like a per diem for the day for like food and sometimes we would have housing like a hotel, but it's super expensive, so not we wouldn't have a hotel every night. Sometimes we'd ask the crowd like, hey, if anybody has a place for us to crash, and then
Oh, wow.
a lot of the time it worked out.
Wow, that's pretty bold.
People are very nice to. At least my experience has been people are very nice to touring musicians. Yeah,
Ah. And do you feel like you have to have a certain following, like to start touring? Like, should you be at a certain point
I don't
before
think
you do?
so. No,
Okay.
I think like, I mean, I think now that I'm older, like, I personally wouldn't just go on tour. I still haven't gone on tour for Chappies, for example, right? And I
Mm,
haven't done it because I don't want it to be like I'm spending like a lot more than I'm earning. Be-
right.
Just because like I have, I'm older, I have other priorities, and I've done tour, so it's not like this like pie in the sky thing.
Right.
But when I was like in my early 20s, it kind of was like I just want to tour. I don't care if I lose money. I don't care if I
You
don't
just
s-
wanted to like,
if I sleep in a van every night. I'm
mm,
cool with it.
mm,
And I was cool with it for a long time. And now I'm like, okay, now if I do it, I want to do it more organized and like, yeah, have some guarantees maybe,
yeah.
things like
Yeah,
that.
you need like a little leverage,
Yeah.
to like make it worth it. Yeah,
I
'cause
wish, I kind of wish I wasn't like that because then Chappies would have been on tour right now. Probably
mm,
losing money though. You know what I mean?
right.
But it's okay. Like I'm not, 21, I'm not that age anymore. So it's okay. It's like I'm okay with where I'm at. I'm at peace with it.
That's good.
I've toured, enough to feel comfortable.
Right. Right. And I think if you've done it a few times, now you understand how it works, like the business, right? The
Yeah.
business side, and you're like, okay, on average, it's like about this much or not, and then you have to kind of outweigh like the benefits and the risks of what you're doing, right? Especially that
Yeah.
we're getting older. Yeah, for sure. Like you want to start thinking about like not always not making money,
Yeah, yeah,
right?
for
You
sure.
want to make the money. Yeah.
Honestly, like the reason I finally started thinking about money wasn't even for me. Like it wasn't even for me to make money. It was for me to pay my band. Which I'm
Right.
sure you can relate to because you have a sick band too, and like,
Mm-hmm.
and we share band members sometimes, and like,
Yes.
I think it's important for us to just if we don't advocate for them with all these promoters and you know a cut of the bar or a cut of the door or whatever, if we don't negotiate all that, they're not gonna who's gonna do it for them, like
Right.
it's our responsibility, or if you
Right.
if you have a manager or a booking agent, it's their responsibility. So yeah, we got to do that for them so we could be like, hey, we got offered a show, it pays this much, like I can pay each one of you guys this much. Or if you really want to do the show and they're not paying you enough and you're really willing to pay out of your pocket to kind of give them a nicer cut,
Yeah.
then cool, that's great. But you can't do that always either. So
Yeah.
it's
I'm
just better for you to just try to advocate for more money for your band,
right.
you know?
So then as an artist, you have to learn essentially the art of negotiation. And I think that just comes with time because you're like, first, you're just like grateful that you have the opportunity. And then you're like, okay, well, if I'm getting the opportunities now, like maybe I could be like, okay, let's feel this one out and ask for this. And then I think that just comes with practice. But I feel like as females, like negotiation isn't always like our forte. And I think like I'm learning, like just pushing myself to like negotiate everything. Like I forgot where I heard this. It was like you don't get oh what was it? Oh my god, I'm gonna butcher it. But it was like you don't get things because you deserve them. You get things because you negotiate them. I'm like butchering the words, but it's
Yeah.
kind of like the concept of it. Obviously, like yes, you deserve it, right? But it's like sometimes you just need to ask. And if you don't ask questions, then you'll never know the answer.
That's a good point.
It's also good to not like be outlandish and like not know what's going on in the market, right?
Yeah,
Just like any job that you have, like you're not going to ask for a raise that's like extremely crazy.
for sure.
You want to know what everyone else is making generally,
Hmm.
and then you negotiate like what you feel you deserve, right? And
Yeah.
then see what they say.
Yeah, like if you know you're gonna bring a good crowd to a show because like you've been playing for a long time, then I feel like you have a little bit of like leverage to be like, hey, we want more than $100. Like a
Yeah.
$100 is like not enough for my
No.
band and everything, all the work we're gonna do, and we're gonna bring a lot more people than $100.
Right.
Like that
Right.
will add up to a lot more. So yeah, you just kind of have to figure that out, and sometimes you're willing to take a loss, sometimes you're not, and both
Mm.
are okay.
Yeah. There's like a give and a take, right? Sometimes like even if you're not getting paid a lot, maybe the exposure is going to help you with followers or fans or people who you just haven't more of an opportunity in a different where you're lane where now you're like evaluating, oh, okay, this might be worth
Absolutely, yeah.
this,
And
right?
maybe the exposure will help you sell merch at the show, and then the merch will, compensate the money you didn't make as from the guarantee. So you
Right.
could pay your band with the merch money or something.
Right,
Which
right.
we've done that. I've done that before where
Mm,
yeah, we make like 300 in merch and then I just give that to the band, you know.
that's a good way to put it. Yeah, and as an artist, do you feel like you have to have several sources of income in the musical space for because I think like well at least I'm learning more so through the business, right? Like not always you're gonna make the sales from the streams, so now it's merch,
Yeah.
like you kind of have to have different
I think so.
things.
I think merch is like historically been everybody's bread and butter, for making money. Every musician's bread and butter for making money. So shows and touring and merch, right? So um, we all know streams are kind of hard to make money off of. So
It's
you can't.
insane.
Yeah, it's cool if you make some money. I make some money every single month on streams, and it's like not a lot, but it's something, and I'm proud of that little something, and it's cool. But yeah, if I was on tour for a month or two and I was selling merch every night, like that's gonna be it's gonna add up to way more.
Oh, interesting.
So
Yeah.
yeah, having merch is like super valuable if you can. People love shirts and people love like beanies or like you know any kind of merch. Like I think, what did Pearl and the Oysters have? We played with Pearl and the Oysters, and they had like something like different for merch. I forgot what it was. I'm blanking
Was
out.
it
Like
like a tote bag or something?
yeah, they definitely had that, but they what did they have? I'm blanking out. Like it was like a
Mm.
scarf or something, like something
Oh.
different. It's not a
Oh.
scarf. Damn, I'm blanking out.
It's
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
Probably like an accessory
But
or
yeah, and I
something
was
like
just
that.
like, that's so cool. Like they're thinking outside of
Mm.
the box in terms of merch.
Wow, that's yeah, I like want to definitely get into shirts also. Oh wait, I mean I do have shirts available. But yeah, just like thinking of different things that I feel like could, be cool for people who want to buy and support. And I think that's an art in itself too. It's just like um merch. It's like okay, who should I hire? Because I've hired like some friends that are like local designers or like Letty did like the bucket hats, and then like my friend she designed the shirt thing. So I think it's fun also involving and collaborating with other artists who are better at that than me. Like, you know what
Yeah.
I mean? Like I mean I do graphics and things like that, but like a shirt I'm like I don't know. Like where should it be placed? Like I
Yeah.
have no idea. And like, do you come up with those designs yourself or do you hire people for certain things?
Yeah, for sure. All the artwork, like all the singles have been the homie has said.
Mm,
He's done all the artwork for that. The homie Spencer has helped out with shirts. Dom, she helped out with stickers and shirts. Yeah, so a lot of people. Shout out to
mm.
everybody that's helped. Thank you.
Yeah, shout out to all the designers. Yeah, I mean, graphic design is a whole nother thing in itself.
Sometimes you think you're alone in this music thing, and then you start listing all the people that have helped you, and you're kind of like, nah, if it wasn't for all these people helping me, like, I would not be as far as I am, or like,
Totally.
So like, shout
Yeah.
out to everybody that's ever helped Chappies out for real. Like
Yes.
I always forget, because like that's like maybe the negative thing in your head that you're like, oh, I'm alone in this, and like I have to decide everything and figure everything out. So I do kind of get in those negative head spins sometimes,
Mm. Yeah.
because it's a lot of pressure to be making 1,000 decisions.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean?
And then
Like,
on top of that, you have to like adult. Like you have to make regular adult decisions. You still have to like
go to the
wash,
doctor.
yeah, go to the doctor, like set up your appointments, like pay for gas, do your laundry, like just regular schmegular stuff. You have to
Mhm.
still do that. And then on top of that, you're making all these other decisions. But I think it requires trust in other people. I think
Yeah, definitely.
like building a good team is very important, and working with people that you like, because um and sometimes that requires like trial and error. Like you will hire someone and you're like, "Ugh, I don't know if I want to use them again." Like,
And
like
sometimes I know you said working with people you like is, yeah, that's obviously important, but maybe even more important than working with somebody you like is working with somebody that can do what you want
that
a
part.
little bit more, because sometimes you want to work with your homies because you like your homies,
Right, right.
and like, but like maybe the quality of what they're delivering isn't quite what you wanted, and you
Yeah.
maybe should have hit up the person that you don't know that
Right.
like would have just done a way better job faster, way faster.
Mm.
Like they could turn it around like right now. Like I could, like for example, Spencer. Like I should have hit up Spencer a long time ago, and now we work together all the time. I ask him to help me with stuff, and he turns it around like right away, and
Mhm.
it's like quality stuff. Like it looks amazing, and I don't even have to like go back and forth, and saves me time, saves me everything. And he's a homie too, so I got lucky with Spencer, but.
Yeah, I mean, it's working with people you can trust to do a good job, because I've had like both. Like I've had like people where they they are friends, but that, yeah, sometimes like if you're friends with them, they're like, "Oh, there's a little delay." And you're like, "Oh, shoot," cuz you're the homie. And then there's the other aspect of trusting someone you don't know to also do a good job.
And if you do hire your homie, just make sure that you pay them the same that you would pay the person that wasn't the homie. I mean, that's
Mm.
just my 2 cents. Cause
Mhm.
like sometimes you like a homie will offer to do it for free, and you're like, oh, that's so cool. Like they're gonna offer to do it for free. But then, come on, people should not be doing shit for free. Like it takes time, and
Mm.
especially if it's a reoccurring thing where they're helping you out, it's like you should just pay them, and then they would feel better about doing it in the future, and you would feel better because you pay them what they deserve, and everybody just feels better about the whole thing.
Everyone wins.
Yeah,
That's what we
because
want.
yeah, it's tricky to do stuff with friends sometimes, and
Yeah, I mean, mixing business and pleasure, they always say, is sometimes not always a good
hmm
mix, for that very reason, because then you can um, put a dent in your relationship with your friend,
yeah,
and then you never, it just taints it a little bit.
for sure.
Yeah. Oh, anything you would like to promote?
Promotion. We put out a single like a month and a half ago called Sweet Love that might be my favorite song. It's doing pretty well. I haven't promoted it in a while, so I definitely should promote it as much as I can.
Do it.
Yeah, so Sweet Love is a cool song that I made with Eliza and Christian on drums.
Oh,
And
Christian
yeah,
Orozco?
yeah, Orozco.
Oh, shout out, y'all.
Yeah, he's a
Both of
great
you.
drummer. Um, Great friend. And yeah, so check that out. And then we're playing a show August 2nd for Deer Long Beach. which is a Be Here Now production.
Shout out Vanessa
Yeah,
Jimenez.
was she your first guest?
She was my first guest.
Sick.
Yeah, yeah. And I mean, I don't know how she does it.
Me
She
neither.
she does a lot of things too.
Yeah,
Everybody's doing a lot of things, and I'm like learning that the more that I'm interviewing everybody is like, we're creatives. Like we're not
hmm
just fixated on one thing. We like to do multiple things because it's fun.
for sure.
And why not? And she has so many events. And I'm just like, that's a whole nother level. Like me thinking of like putting a team together for like just my set. And then she's like working with multiple artists. That's a lot of.
Yeah, I remember her explaining it, and I'm gonna butcher it as well, but like it's like Dear Long Beach was, I think she started it like 4 years ago or something.
I think so. Like kind of like COVID time, I
Yeah, we were
believe.
the first guests that she had, and I think it's been like 4 years now or something like
Oh,
that.
wow.
And so it's like, I think she said it was like a love letter to Long Beach. Like, here's my love letter to you,
Yeah,
my confession that I love you, Long Beach, dear Long Beach.
right.
So it's super cool because I feel the same way towards Long Beach.
Yeah, totally. And where can people find you?
Um, on social media, on what's it called? Yeah, Instagram, TikTok. Um, the handle is Chapis Dude, and we have music everywhere: Spotify, Apple Music. We have a bunch of music videos that I always forget about on YouTube. Check
Put it
those
out,
out.
put it out.
Yeah, yeah. I always forget to say all these things. So yeah, please check it out. And thank you, Kalina, for like
Yes,
having me.
thank you for being here. Glad to have you on the podcast. Appreciate you being here.
Likewise.
All right, hope you enjoyed that last episode. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. And I will see you on the next Sing With Me Cozy
Cozy
with
with Kalina.
Calinnah. All right, bye.